What's up guys, Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Electro. As usual, you can get the full project files, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available right at the top of the description on my website. Definitely go grab this. This is one of the best templates for this style I have seen on the market. One of the best I've ever made. It's going to really help you take your tracks to the next level, you know? If you're missing something, or maybe you just want a little bit of inspiration, maybe you already know how to make these tracks, wherever you're at in your process, this template is one thing you can do right now to take your tracks to the next level immediately. So, go grab this, don't play around, grab it while it's still available. Thank you so much for all the support, guys, and enjoy the template, and let's dive in. So, we're at 131 BPM, you know, already pretty fast, and the first thing that we actually have up here is this noise percussion. So, if you listen to like the overall beat here, you can see we kind of have some things that are happening constantly, right? Like these are all happening constantly. But then you also have some that are kind of like popping in and out. And that's what actually this rim shot also does as well. These two layers up here, the noise percussion and this rim shot, that's what those serve. Is essentially having sort of like, again, you have some percussion which is constantly just going and going and going, and then some of it which pops in and out of the track. And the other thing that's happening here is a bit of call and response, right? Because you get the rim shot, and then the noise percussion right after, and you can hear like it's a very kind of connected groove. So yeah, so for the noise percussion, it's made with the operator. It's a pretty simple sound. So it's just some white noise here with a short envelope, and then a bandpass filter with an envelope on that as well, and the hard shaper. Even if the drive isn't up, just having that on there really helps to give it more of like a percussive texture. We're also automating the filter. Yeah, you can see that. Then we have just a bit of echo, and then this drum bus. And the drum bus also really helps when you're making this synth percussion to make it sound more like an actual percussion. And then the rim shot. You can see it's just this nice punchy rim shot sample. A little bit of drum bus on that. And yes, again, you have that contrast with your percussion. You have these two layers which are kind of popping in and out. And then you have the stuff which is going to just be consistently going. And so that's what we have next. So you can see this is more of like the basic beat, right? So we have like our kick and snare, which you can see, it's kind of like an even balance, right? When you're choosing the kick and the snare, to get that proper groove, you want the kick and the snare to kind of be hitting evenly, even if obviously the kick has a lot more weight to it being in the low end, but it's just that doom, doom, doom. You can't have like doom, doom, doom. Like you need it to be really, really punchy. We can see that's not really too hard to do. Like it's really just getting these two different samples that fit nicely. Like this is kind of like a 909 kick, and then an 808 snare. Obviously, the drum machine sounds work really well for this style. And then really just like balancing them. Right, you can see like if you look at the levels here, they hit pretty evenly. And then we have the hi-hats. So you can see these are pretty busy, but it's actually very simple. It's just two layers, right? It's just this open hi-hat. And then this closed hi-hat, which is just straight 16 notes with a few 30-second notes in there. We got like the rolls. And on the group of those, I actually have a little bit of drum bus, which I wouldn't usually do, but I think here it works well. Like usually hi-hat, drum bus, especially on a group which is just hi-hats, would be a little bit too crunchy, but I think here it's more about the texture. Right, like we're just trying to create a nice texture over top of these. Then we have our bassline. So this is kind of like a 303 sound that I made. The idea here is it's kind of like a 303, but the 303, you wouldn't usually have that do the actual bass. Like, if you listen to this, this is not just like a 303, but the actual bass line of the track. Like that's where the low end is coming from. But also it's something a little bit more, right? Like it's meant to sound a little bit more modern. It's not just like, oh, let's perfectly recreate a 303 with operator. It's let's take that concept, like almost using a 303 like the reference, and then make whatever like the future of that is. So that's kind of the idea with this sound. Now, for the actual notes here, it's really simple. It's just two notes. It's G sharp and E. And then this is just G sharp and octave up here. Now, you might ask, why would you pick these two notes? It seems kind of random. Well, it's musically speaking, this is the sixth, this E. And I know if you go from your root note up to your sixth, you get a very kind of like dark sound, but it resolves really nicely when you come back down to that root note. So that's why I went for that. And then it's also creating a little bit of rhythm with these octaves here, right? Like having that instead of just it's like kind of creating more of a rhythm. The other thing here is call and response, right? Because you're getting the call over here, which is this, and then this is the response. Call, response. And that's important. That's really how you create like good synth lines. Like a lot of people are constantly wondering how to do that. And really, like if you just have like that call and response in there, you know, it can be very simple but still very effective. And it's also little details too, like the way this note slides down to this one, but then this one doesn't do the slide, right? It's that little tiny thing. The way you get the down, down. Like then this note being very punchy because it doesn't have a slide. Versus if I make that one slide. See, it's not quite as good of a groove. So use those to your advantage. It's not just like musical. It's also rhythmic, how we're using the slides. Now, for the actual sound, it's made with operator. And what it is you can see there's no FM happening here, but I've got a square wave and a saw wave playing side by side. And yeah, again, kind of like a future 303 again, because usually the 303 would just be either or. But having them both side by side just creates this super fat sound because these are both extremely harmonically rich waveforms. So if you put them together, you just get this very, very full thing. And then it's going into a low pass filter with a little bit of an envelope on it. You can see there's a bunch of automation on the frequency of that. Obviously, this keeps it exciting because this is a very repetitive track. And then we have the hard shaper on there. And that actually goes a long way. Even though this is a very harmonically rich sound, this shaper here adds even more harmonics to it and makes it really fat. So here's without that. And then with it. See, without it, it is still like a 303 sound, but with it, it's like that, like really full, fat kind of thing. So we got that. And then the last thing here is just this auto pan. And this is actually kind of making it sound like it's, you know, got like that quarter note sidechain thing happening. But really, even though that isn't happening with the kick, like normally when you do this, it's because the kick is going don't. And then you want your bass to kind of bounce off of that. You can see it's actually creating a more interesting rhythm by having that contrast where this is pulsing up on quarter notes and it sounds like it's being sidechained to like, you know, a regular like house kick or something like that. But then the rest of the beat is doing something different. That's creating a lot of rhythm. And that's something subtle, but that's the type of thing maybe you might hear a track and then try to recreate it and then you miss this and then you don't quite have the sound. So yeah, this is adding a lot rhythmically. Like if I turn that off, see the groove isn't quite the same without that. So then we have this little lead synth down here. Right, really simple, just two notes, G sharp and A. It's really more about the rhythm though, like how that fits over top of the beat. That dun 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 dun. Right, and just kind of creating a little bit of groove with the two notes. for the actual sound, it's made with analog. So it's 2 saw waves. One is 7 semitones up, right? So that's creating a fifth. And then the first one has no, it's just at the regular pitch, but you can see I've got a little pitch envelope on that, so it's going vroom. We've also got the noise like that, a little bit of a low pass with a big envelope, some unison, and then just a little bit of echo. And then the last sound down here is this chord stab. So yeah, this is just a G sharp minor chord. Again, that's the key we're in, G sharp minor. Pretty simple. It just hits every 4 bars to kind of like reset the loop, right? And so the sound for this one is also made with analog. And this is 2 saw waves, an octave apart. Not really too much on the filter because the frequency's all the way up. And then the amp envelope you can see is just a little bit of attack there. So that's how you're getting that like vroom. And that's another one of those things where like that little volume shaping does a lot for the groove. Because this sounds really good if you have that first kick hit and it's kind of like this. Like it's kind of bouncing off of that kick, right? If you just have this hit straight away with no attack, see, it's not quite as impactful. So it's that little like the fact that it feels like it's like pulling up that makes the difference. And that's how you can really connect, not just like understanding how like the attack and sustain and decay and release work, but actually like how to use that for your track to make your track better, right? And then we just have a bit of unison, some chorus, and a little bit of erosion actually to kind of give that some texture. You can hear that gives it that nice crunch in the highs. And yeah, so that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, literally every single thing from this video is available right at the top of the description on my website. Don't miss it. This is one of the best templates for the style on the market, and you can get it right now at a very accessible price. This is really going to help support me. I don't make a whole lot off of YouTube, but if you guys enjoy these videos, if I've ever taught you anything, definitely go grab this. Plus, it's going to really help support you guys. You can immediately make stronger music today by just grabbing this simple template. So, links at the top of the description. Don't miss out. Thank you so much for the support, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.